So here we got an equation that we got to solve with two square roots. So whenever we have that, the first thing we need to do is we need to move one square root to the other side. And so let's do that. Let's go ahead and subtract the square root of x plus 2 from both sides. And we've got something like this. And now we're going to square both sides to get rid of those radicals. Now when we square the left side, it's going to square that negative here, and that's going to become a positive, of course, and the square root's going to go away, and we end up with x plus 2. Now, when we square root this side, it's useful to remember this rule. If we have a minus b squared, that's like a minus b times a minus b. And square this out, we get a squared minus a b minus a b minus plus, actually, b squared. And we get that from doing FOIL, if you want to think of it that way, or distributing there, and we'll end up with this. And when we simplify that, we get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. That's one that you're probably going to want to have memorized here. So let's go ahead and just kind of put that together. So we have this equals a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Now the reason why I take the moment to go through that is because what we have here is we've got this is like our a, and this is like our b, the negative 3. So when we square this whole thing, we're going to square the first, which is taking the square root here. I'm going to square this, and when you square the square root, it makes it go away, and we'll have x minus 1. Then we're going to have 2 times the product, so we have minus 2 times the product of those two things. That's the square root of x minus 1 times negative 3. And then the last thing we have is plus b squared. So we're going to have plus, and it's going to be negative 3 squared, or really just 3 squared. Actually, let me back up here. Here the b is just the 3. So it's going to be times 3. The negative's there because when we multiply these two, we get a negative. Okay? And plus 9. All right, so let's clean that up. We have, let's combine like terms. We've got x. We've got a minus 1 and a plus 9 there. So it's going to be a plus 8. And this is going to be a minus 6 square root of x minus 1. And over here, x plus 2. All right, so now, get this out of the way. Let's go ahead and get this radical all by itself because we've got to get rid of it now. So we're going to subtract x from both sides and subtract 8 while we're at it. It's going to give us negative 6 equals negative 6 square root of x minus 1. That's handy. Divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, and we end up with 1 equals the square root of x minus 1. And that's nice because now we just need to square both sides. Square this side, square that side. And 1 squared gives us 1. And so we end up with 1 equals x minus 1. And then we're going to add 1 to both sides, and x is 2. Now, whenever you're dealing with square roots, you need to check to make sure that that's a good solution, not an extraneous solution. And plug it in. Plug in 2 for x here. And we get 2 plus 2. Oops, let's plug in 2 here and 2 here. And we're going to get 2 plus 2 is 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to give us 2. And here we get the square root of 2 minus 1. Well, that's the square root of 1, which is 1, so plus 1 minus 3, and I believe that makes 0. All right, so that checks out. Okay, so when we substitute, this is what we get, and that's great. So it checks out. All right, so our answer 2 equals x.